One of the things interesting, I didn't think this would be the case, but we got equity wrapped crypto before we got crypto wrapped equities.
Well, we got crypto wrapped ETFs, so maybe that did come first. But yes, you're right. We did not get crypto wrapped equity.
No, we got
I
the
mean,
other way round. You know what I mean?
crypto.
Because we actually wrapped a bunch of crypto in an ETF um,
Yep.
to make it accessible that way around, which is not the way most people would have thought it would have happened. It was like more disruptive than that. It was actually TradFi saying, well, we like it, but we don't want to change yet. So we're going to stick with the ETF side. Do you think that at some point, I guess you're seeing this is a lot of the time you're still having to turn into a fund structure, crypto investments for clients, whether it's the hedge funds that you have internally or whatever it is, or you have to turn it into an equity. Are you yet seeing them saying, how do we do tokens and buy tokens and
Yeah.
hold tokens?
Only in venture, right? That's really the only place that I think we're seeing how do I buy and hold tokens,
Right.
right? It's very hard right now to get investors' heads around holding the direct tokens. I'm talking institutional investors now. I'm not talking individual investors. But I think that institutions are still not clear on the tokenomics and how they work. I think they're still not clear, or I think that they realize that there's not a lot of clarity and transparency in some protocols in terms of what their tokenomics are and how they operate. And I think that that makes it more challenging, right? Not only do you have all the business dynamics that you need to model to determine the attractiveness of an investment, you also need to model these new things called token pools that there's not a lot of legal clarity around what the obligations are there. And sometimes there's not even a lot of clarity around the plans of the issuer themselves on how they're going to deal with the token pool. And then there's the whole community aspect, which they've never had to deal with in an investment before. So I think that it's still a challenge to get these institutions to understand the tokens. What we try and do through our education role is really help them to understand that there has been a reliance on open source protocols in our society for decades now, but we were never able to
That's
invest
right.
in those protocols. And that if you can get their mind around this idea that a token is not an equity, but a token is a way of sharing ownership of open source code, that starts to help. But that's a big leap for a lot of
And the
traditional
VC team
investors.
might get it again, but the general portfolio managers are like, oh, this sounds like too much like early stage technology investing.
Exactly. So I think that we'll get there, but it's much more of an educational hurdle than putting an equity into a crypto wrapper or putting crypto into an ETF, right? Those are still things that are easier for people, I think, to understand.
I think another thing that I envisage happening pretty fast is the massive pools of excess capital, the Apollos and the Blackstones and those people to enter the DeFi market in size as providers of liquidity. It's all they do anyway, right? They're massive lenders of money, credit to the system. And it feels that this is a market they'll understand very well. Sure, there's some esoteric risks, but they're used to dealing with esoteric risks too. And that we'll see, there's trillions of dollars in that market can easily go into DeFi and create enormous liquidity pools.
Yeah, and it's not even going to be DeFi or CeFi. It's going to be some interesting combination of the two, because there probably will be some regulatory boundaries that get set to make it easier for regulated entities to participate, but still maintaining some of the, I think, real opportunity space of these new models. So I think that this is going to be one of the most exciting areas we see. I completely agree. I think tons of liquidity is going to move into these new models because they really are so much more effective. And you can really time them to a much greater degree with much less difficulty than you can in any kind of financing arrangements today. And this is where the ability to embed the smart contract in the actual instrument is going to become critical, because that's what's going to facilitate the transferability. That's what's going to allow for the secondary markets. And these are things that just don't exist in financing arrangements today. So I think that this is going to be a huge area of innovation, and the risks, we want those risks, right?
Sure.
People forget that, you make your best return in areas where there's the most risk, and you have a trusted risk manager that can hedge that out. So I think this is going to be a very exciting space.
Hey, thanks for sticking around to the end. Look, if you enjoyed it, hit the subscribe button and check out the video here on the right-hand side. I'm sure you'll enjoy that one as well. And if you're ready for more, go to realvision.com/join. I'll see you there.